been about 7 years since Overkill's The Walking Dead has come out, and it's been about 6 years since the license was pulled, resulting in further development of the game being halted. There's the video, that's it, pretty much. Goodbye. Nah, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's not that easy. I am 25 years old now. When the beta for this game was released, I might have been just about 17, just turning 18. Really makes you think, doesn't it? I am the oldest Payday player. Anyway, I made a video when I was 17 talking about the open beta that happened at the time. And I did not enjoy it. As much as I already started disliking Payday 2 at the time, probably. So, I thought to myself, that video is about as ancient as me now. Why not revive it? And take this as an opportunity to re-review the game, as well as talking about the cancelled Season 2 that Starbreeze worked on while they had the license pulled. It kinda sounded like fun, and it kinda sounded like a great opportunity for me to go through some growth and just acknowledge the fact that I used to be cringe at one point. So here we are. Where do I start? As I had already mentioned, Overkill's The Walking Dead was Starbreeze's first foray into the world of proper AAA game development, with a huge IP, namely Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead to boot. And the creators of Payday working with a new engine on a new IP with the experiences of the past and present. I'm going to hold off on the grabs I've had with Payday 2 around the time. Instead, just let me put it like this. So much went wrong with that game, and it extended way beyond that. It affected the company as a whole so badly that it essentially still suffers from its mismanagement to this day. Maybe not entirely financially, but definitely morale-wise. The lightning in a bottle that was Payday 2, persisting for 10 years before it fizzled out, following a sequel that didn't really respect the source material and didn't even bother trying to do anything new outside of a controversial new armor system. Thanks for 1,000 views, by the way. I'll try and play a little more before I collect my thoughts on Armor 2.0, so stay tuned, alright? Back to the topic. Things in the community at the time were still somewhat doomy and gloomy due to the CrimeFest 2015 fiasco. Yes, 3 years later, the effect that event had on the community could still be felt. But overall, I think a lot of people were relatively happy to check out the follow-up game from their favorite developers, but if only they knew.
Here's a quick rundown of the beta for Overkill's The Walking Dead. I played 2 hours, 1 hour I tried to get the game actually to work. It is a console port, at least I think so, most likely. A failed one though. It barely works on PC.
God, I sound so much younger back then. Almost as if 8 years have passed. And anyway, back then the entire issue of console games getting half-assed ports on PC wasn't as big of a thing anymore, but I felt as if this case, I genuinely couldn't shake the fact that I was just playing a PS4 game with a mouse and keyboard. From the UI, to the control scheme, to the gunplay, you might recognize some of these issues because it's what a lot of people, including me, have said about Payday 3 as well. It's funny how some things just never seem to change.
Also, there's no talkable voice chat. It's always on. So I have fun playing like that. The animations for characters and zombies are stiff, but not too bad. They could look way better though.
This goes beyond that even. Performance issues, always on voice chat. If 17-year-old me can figure that out as a problem, then why can't you?
Especially with a $60 price tag. Overkill is not an indie dev anymore. Not at all. They've earned so much money, they can do anything. They've got experience, and they just fail to use it like in a good way.
I really put a huge emphasis on this. People love treating Overkill like their buddy old pal, the little indie dev that could, and despite the fact they were rolling in cash from other DLC and now microtransactions. It pissed me off back then, and the fact that some people still like to act like Overkill, now Starbreeze, is on the same level, it's almost funny if it wasn't so sad. I think the price tag back then was a bit too much, and I'm glad they realized that their games are a little on the lighter side and charged $40 for Payday 3 instead. But then again, Overkill's The Walking Dead offered so much more. So much more content in comparison to Payday 3. It's hilarious. I don't think I'd pay $60 for either game nowadays, but I feel like I'd get more out of the former rather than the latter.
The textures, models, and maps, they look decent to okay, even though, as I said, for that price tag, I expected a little more. Though I think most of the, map design and everything was probably kind of inspired by other games, because they've done nothing that made a map stand out. It's just all this, you go a path or you defend an area. It's not fun. It's going to get repetitive really easily.
The repetition thing. Yeah, I felt pretty confident in that, and playing all these years later, I think I'm still correct on that. I played a lot of No More Room in Hell, which is a free source mod which you can download right now on Steam for the price of free. There's no better price than free. And I think going from something like Payday 2 to The Walking Dead, you just never would have quite felt at home with the levels and the zombies specifically. But that's who they initially advertised to. This was their audience, kind of. No More Room in Hell plays a lot differently, where it has a ton of levels where getting to a checkpoint can be an adventure of its own, with tons of randomizations and sometimes even splitting paths. Also, tons of user content. Overkill's The Walking Dead had a lot more variety towards the later levels, but also inserted a lot of unnecessary filler and fluff with tons of unnecessary Destiny-inspired RPG elements. Where No More Room in Hell shines with its unforgiving difficulty and simplicity, Overkill's The Walking Dead drowns to its incredibly ham-fisted progression system.
The sound design is so-so. Characters sound great. The main characters, the voice actors did a pretty good job. They don't have not a personality though. Zombies sound horrible. I really do not like how the zombies sound. And the human enemies don't sound great either. They just sound so fucking stupid.
The audio thing. Again, it just repeats itself all. The lack of character on the characters, it keeps coming back, doesn't it? It's almost funny.
Come to think of it, the AI is straight up fucking stupid and useless as well. It's not fun to fight against the zombies or the humans. It's just... the zombies just run straight at you, there's no tactic required in order to actually defeat them. You just kite them, shoot in their heads, maybe use your melee weapon when you're all out of ammo, that's about it. Human enemies, usually you're on stealth and they don't see you right away, which means, yeah, you can sneak up to them, you can try to, you know, do a stealthy attempt, which will most likely fail, and then as soon as one guy sees you and shoots, everyone sees you instantly.
The zombies are still as dumb as ever. The human enemies are a little annoying, probably because some of them have helmets on, preventing you from taking them out silently with a single shot to the head from your silenced pistol. Could there be something about teamplay here? Maybe. No, not really. It probably goes hand in hand with a decision from higher-ups, namely Bo Anderson, that snipers should knock you down, no matter how much health you have. Sounds awful, doesn't it? Again, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Or just loop around many years later. God, it's so tiring being old. But enough talking about the past. Why don't we talk about why, of all things, I'm talking about this game in 2025? The answer is pretty simple. A few years ago, someone leaked the build of the promised Season 2 onto the internet. Season 2 never dropped because Starbreeze had the license for the Walking Dead franchise pulled. They kept working on the game regardless, in the hopes they'd get the license back. This never happened, and thus after many years of frustration, of crunch, a failed project, of a failed game engine deal that honestly deserves a video of its own, it all went to waste. Nothing came of it. So, while these leaks are obviously usually a little awful from the point of view of exposing unfinished works and whatnot, in this case, if it hadn't been for this leak, we never would have had an idea of what the future could possibly have looked like for this game. I'm a little late to the party, but I finally sat down and played Season 2. Many years after the last time I actually ever booted the game. And what can I say? There are these Starbreeze typical problems with new, which even existed back then.
What if we all click it?
I fucking crashed!
Oh shit, I crashed! I just crashed as well!
Incredibly bad main menu design, incredibly dumb difficulties, characters with the personality of a brick, but there is also new content, and some quality of life improvements, and some bug fixes. I don't know if I could really go over what's all different from the top of my head, and I really won't try to. If you're trying to find out what's all different from the last build that we could get on Steam versus the leaked Season 2 build, there are resources for that. What I can give you, however, is my honest opinion on if I think Overkill's The Walking Dead is worth checking out in 2025. The short answer is no. Yeah. The longer answer would be, it depends what you're looking for in it. If you're looking to revisit the game, and feel like you could probably get a kick out of a zombie shooter with less bones in it than the average politician, then yeah. I would say you could probably download the leaked Season 2 build off of archive.org and have some good fun with it. If you have never played the game before at all, however, there isn't much in this that would keep you interested that other games haven't done better. Now, this might sound harsh, but unless you have some pre-established interest, or even just something as minor as having played Payday 3 before and wanting to see a lot of the quirks and gimmicks that have made it from this game to the current day, then you will probably get frustrated 3 missions in, especially solo. I already talked about difficulties a bit in my last video, and trust me, there's a lot more that I could have said, but that would just take up more time than I'd like to take from you, so instead, I'll put it like this. The point A to point B missions have a horde meter, which gradually increases the more noise you make, usually through gunshots. Now, zombies aren't the only enemies you face. You also face human enemies, with guns. These human enemies will shoot you, which will obviously increase the meter as well. I like this idea. It pushes people into taking the slower and stealthier approach, to avoid being overrun before they even get to the end. Your silencers degrade. Human enemies don't use silencers. There was a human enemy with a silencer during development playtesting, but people found him to be incredibly annoying to fight, since there was no way of seeing where he was before he shot you. So instead, they made all enemies use loud guns. There are these segments in which you have the opportunity to break open a gate or a similar monster closet zombie spawner, which is supposed to work as a thing where you let the human enemies be overrun by zombies so you don't have to deal with them yourself. In theory, another super cool thing. In practice, this only makes things way harder for you. Obviously, the human enemies start shooting the zombies. This increases the horde meter. The human enemies might eventually die, but not before you've gone at least 2 levels up in difficulty.
Shit.
Bye. Just fucking... Oh.
If you watched any of my previous videos, I usually throw the word frustrating around. It's not because I'm against high stakes and stressful video games, quite the opposite. I love being pushed to my limits, no matter if it's in a shooter, strategy game, or even a racing game. I just do not enjoy situations where I feel like I'll be losing either way, no matter what I do. It's like playing a David Cage game, and I get the choice between kill the child, which the game will keep reminding me over, and keep calling me a monster over, or kill its parents is the other option, which is just as bad, and will have the game still vilifying me over, despite the fact that I had no real choice or alternative in the first place. Stupid analogy, I know, but I hope you can see where I'm coming from. Let's talk about health real quick. Notice how you have chunks. Chunks that refill when not depleted entirely. I didn't like it back then. The main issue I had with it was just the progression, since you start out with only 2 health chunks, which will have you die super easily. But later on, you get a lot more tanky, at which point it's probably not that bad anymore. Damaged chunks refill fully if you wait it out. It's basically Payday 3's adaptive armor, before Payday 3 even started development. Crazy, right? Tying to what I said previously, You are pushed into using your melee weapon or bows if you want to kill without causing more problems for yourself down the line. Silencers degrade, and once they've broken, you can't really find a new one, so wasting your gun on zombies is a terrible idea. But then again, humans have helmets on. They usually come in bigger groups, so one silencer definitely won't outlast all of them. Forced co-op elements, maybe? Is it really fun? No, not really. Again. Not like the gunplay in this game is anything to write home about anyway. It's just very weak and it feels bland. Payday 2 has never had stellar gunplay either, but especially early on, there was at least some heft to the arsenal. From the animations, which were slowly downgraded, to the sound, which was slowly downgraded. Like, and this is just like... It's just another pistol, this better pistol. To just how different a gun could become through weapon modding, which was ultimately expanded upon, only to essentially get a downgrade when you specifically look at the stats themselves. Did I mention? Weapon rarities. Bigger number equals more better. They come with some weapon mods too sometimes, which you have to find as well. Or craft. Well, you can also buy them in the hideout, which is a separate level which you have to load into. Probably because people thought the Payday 2 save house was entirely useless. Some story sequences also force you to load it to the hideout, which you can do as a team of up to 4 players. Except, it basically adds nothing to it. Then lastly, there is the upgrades and the skill trees. Part of the progression that I previously mentioned. They are about what you'd expect. Camp upgrades are sometimes required to make progress in the story, so you can unlock further story missions. And you need resources for them. There's supply missions for that basically work like gacha game logistics systems, but in in-game time instead of real time. As well as dedicated loot run missions where you can go out and steal as much money as you can. I mean, resources, supplies, water, wood, scrap, all that stuff. You're doing the loot run yourself, basically. Is any of that really necessary for a game like this? I think their idea was quite literally to just implement as many attention-grabbing, engagement-driving systems as possible, copying from the likes of Destiny, as well as other popular games at the time. While I think that it's an absolute shame that this game obviously went nowhere, I also feel validated in the fact that my 17-year-old me was able to put a lot of the same thoughts into words, at a time where I wasn't as mature or as experienced as I am now. I also feel a little disappointed maybe. Disappointed that all these years later I still feel an emotional attachment to this developer and their stupid video games. But I can also see the humor in there. The fact that, more often than not, I spent my time talking to my best of friends just about how bad these games have gotten or have always been, and how we spent a lot of our childhoods in and around the community, only for it to become a shell of its former glory. Even if some would argue that the former glory was never really there, but that's entirely beside the point. But that's just about everything that I could bring to the table for a video game whose cultural impact was releasing and then being delisted that same year. I hope you enjoyed this quick little side video. I hope that it was a little less dry than the last one. I also plan on uploading a few extras here and there before I go to work on my next Payday 3 video. So if you're only here for that, I'd still appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. You might forget about it in a day's time, but I'll still feel a little happier nonetheless, which in turn drives me to make more videos like these. And as always, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves out there.